Hey Bryan High School, if you don't already know me, my name is Sam and today I'm going to be teaching you how to apply your show makeup for the 2019 Winterguard season. Wow, 2019. Let's get started. Before we start the tutorial, I forgot to mention a few things. All that I had on my face to start off was a little bit of concealer, foundation, and I filled in my brows, and that's where the tutorial started from there. Sorry I forgot to mention that, so let's get into it. To start out the makeup look, we're going to be using the NYX Vivid Brights Cream Color in the shade Blueprint. And if you're going to be sharing this with a friend, not sure if you guys are, I would suggest using your finger to warm up the product. It's a little bit more stiff. Warm it up, put it on the back of your hand or directly on your face with your finger. And then in between people using it, take a Q-tip or a cotton ball or a cotton pad and just wipe that top layer of it out to keep it sanitary. If you have your own, just go ahead and dip that brush in. So I have a really short, dense pencil brush. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. And you want to make sure you warm up the product with the brush or it'll just get stuck on the brush. I've had that happen to me. So then you're going to line underneath your eyebrow. You want to make sure you don't go too far outside of the eyebrow. If you go too far out, it's just going to start blending with the eyeshadow. We want there to be a nice separation so we can see the difference in between them. And then I like to go back in with my finger to blend out this product. It's really easy to blend out as long as there's some warmth to it. It can get a little bit stiff if it's just applied with a brush and not something warmer. We just want a really nice diffuse color, but we do want it to be very vibrant. It's going to get covered up for the most part, but we want it to be pretty vibrant. Also, make sure you don't connect these in the middle or else it's just gonna look like a unibrow. So I probably took mine in a little bit too far on this side, so we're gonna bring it back. So once you have a decent blend there, we're gonna go in and add the other blue highlights around the face. So we're gonna have it along the cheekbone. And it's a little hard to describe the shape that I want you guys to put along your cheekbone. So you guys will just have to look and see. This one, I suggest using your finger the least amount as possible other than to spread out the middle part of that product. If you have a tiny pinky, this might work. So basically, we want it to be thicker right on that high point of the cheekbone, and it's gonna look like a streak coming out. We want both ends to diffuse this way, up and towards the nose. Hopefully you guys can just refer to the shape that I'm making on my face. Hopefully that makes more sense than my words do. If you have a brush like this, you can always flick out the edges to help diffuse that color. And I honestly think it's okay if they don't match perfectly on each side. And then next one we have is gonna be along the lips. So we're gonna put it right here on the Cupid's bow. And this doesn't have to be too precise because we have lipstick. It's gonna kind of make it look a little bit better later on. Also, the reason I suggest doing the blue first is because this is the trickiest part. And if you mess it up, you can just wipe it off. The rest of the makeup look is pretty easy. So I have it going up my Cupid's bow on both sides and only down one side of my lip. And make sure you don't stretch it too far outside of that lip line to kind of balance out that we have it on one side of the lip. I'm gonna bring it down here by my jawline. It's gonna be kind of like a similar line, and then it diffuses out at the edges. And I have mine just a little bit above my jawline so we can really see it so it doesn't hide in any shadows. The next two highlights we have, we're gonna put one on the side of the nose here, so just follow that outer nostril right in that crease there. And the next one's going to be the tip of the nose. So just start out with the dot on the nose and then try and diffuse the line up, make it skinny. Make it look like a raindrop hit your nose and is flying up. So now you're looking a little silly. Those are all the blue highlights we're gonna have on the face. And next we're gonna go in and add the white highlights. Using the white liner, I'm gonna start by tracing the underneath part of my brow. If you don't have brows to go off of, you get to draw whatever brows you want on beforehand, but everybody needs to have their brows penciled in. If you have a good brow shape, just follow that. I would aim for anything that heightens the arch of your brow. I think that'll give it a really nice look, but just go for something nice and sleek that doesn't hang too low near the eyelid. So there's my rough sketch of the white liner. Now I'm gonna go in and really refine that line and make it solid. There's the first white line. Make sure that you feather out these edges so they come to a nice crisp point. Details are everything with this because as you can see now, it's starting to look more like a neon sign. It's gonna show up a little bit more once we have everything all put together, but that's kind of the look we're going for, is you have these neon stripes along your face. Next, we're gonna be doing the cheekbone. Keep these lines pretty thin. And this one's gonna follow the curved shape of that blue area. So there's the rough shape of the white line, and now we're gonna go in and make it more solid. Next, we're gonna do these features around the nose and the lips. Same idea with the thin line and then the nice sharp points at the ends. Everything needs to be round along with the features of the face. With the nose, start out small because this one's really easy to mess up. So start out with the dot on the tip of the nose. And then I like to turn my brush this side and drag it upwards. One last tip I have for you guys is that whenever you're doing these lines above the lips, make sure you do it over your lip line, like you're overlining your lips in a way, because you need to be able to put the lipstick on later without covering up the white. So I think you guys kind of got the hang of the idea I have going on here, so I'm going to just speed through the next parts that we're doing and kind of just make a mini montage of it. So these are all the neon high points of the face. Hopefully you guys can start seeing it come together. It looks pretty cool in person, and I think it'll look really great on the floor. So let's move on to the eyeshadow next. The next step I want you guys to do, a little bit out of order, is take your black liner and I want you to trace the top of your lash line and in your waterline. So I'm gonna pull mine back a little bit, and this can be messy, but just fill in between your lashes so we don't have to worry about it later. Next product to use is the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk, and we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it on the inner half of the eyelid. And make sure you put a decent amount in that inner corner. We're gonna blend that out. Now I'm gonna take my ring finger. The camera died, so you're gonna take your ring finger and blend out that white pencil. Once you blend that out one time, go in again and add a second layer. It doesn't need to be a perfect blend because we're gonna go in with some more shadows, but that's just the base of the inner corner of the eyeshadow look. So for the next eyeshadow part, I'm just using one brush, one basic eyeshadow blending brush. For those of you that have this palette, I'm going to be using this third blue in from this corner. It has one of these speckled shadows on the same row. And if you don't have this palette, then I know for those of you who have the alternate blue palette, then you have something close to this blue shade in here. So we're going to take that on our eyeshadow blending brush. I want you to start in that very outer corner. Move this shadow in circle motions. Keep it contained to that outer corner. Then we're gonna pull it in on that crease. And don't get too crazy with this. We don't want this blue shadow blending upwards into what we've done on our eyebrow. But keep blending in swiping motions and circle motions. And see how we have a really harsh blend up here? That's okay, we're gonna work it out. What you have left on that brush from that first blend, I want you guys to pull this out, and it'll almost connect with that tail end of the brow. And then we'll blend those in together so it doesn't look too harsh. Next thing I want you guys to do, whatever brush you use to apply that initial blue, the cream color that we use, whatever is left on that brush is what I want you guys to drag into the lower lash line. and you'll connect that. And the shade should be almost exactly the same as that blue shadow. And if you don't have any excess left on the brush, then just use your finger. Just be very careful about how much you're putting on the lower lash line. Now I want you to go back in with the white shadow. We're gonna do another layer just on that very inner corner and then blend it out. Not too far. This is just to kind of help mesh everything together. The next color I'm gonna grab is this very light blue shade here on the outer edge. It's underneath this yellowish green color. We're gonna take that on the same brush, start in the inner or the outer corner and blend it across that crease in. And we're gonna do some circle motions coming across to really get a good blend in there. All the way in, almost to that inner corner. We should be starting to get a really nice blend in there. Let's go back to that previous blue shade we used and deepen out that outer corner for the last time. If you're ever unsatisfied with the blend, the best thing about this NYX pencil is that you can go in and fix it. So I want a little bit more white on the inner lid right here. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit and blend that out with my finger. I think that looks pretty good. Next, you're gonna take a matte white shadow. With the matte white shadow, I'm just gonna take this one on my finger and we're gonna pat it over all of that NYX pencil to set it, or else it'll crease or it'll just blend in with the blues. Once you've done that, you should have a pretty nice gradient going across the lid. Next step is gonna be a black wing liner. So I'm taking my black liquid liner. How I like to do my wings is starting in the very outer corner and drawing a line that looks like it's extending from my lower lash line. So it kind of helps to start with the mirror down at a 45-degree angle and draw that line and then pull it up. Make sure that it looks straight. From there, I still like to hold the mirror at a 45-degree angle and I draw the top line connecting to the lash line. Pull that in, and then from there, I then draw the line over the top of my lash line. So with my eye shape, I always have to pull my eyelid back a little bit. So how to make that flow into the inner corner nicely, you want it to thin and then thicken out as it gets towards that wing. If you have it too thick towards the inner half of the eye, it's gonna look really heavy and make your eyes look a lot smaller. So lighten it up on that inner half and let it gradually thicken out into that wing. My second wing didn't go as planned, but we live and we learn. Cousins, sisters, not twins. Next part is the most fun part of the tutorial, and it can be really challenging for some people, so make sure you practice this part. You're gonna need your lashes. You want to make sure that if you've never put them on, that you measure them before you just try and stick them on with the glue. So I like to take the lash, lay it on my lid, and see however much excess is hanging off the outer corner. Make sure it's nice and comfy where it's not going to poke your inner corner. Check out how much you need to cut off. You want to cut it from the band side of the lash, not the lash side of the lash. Band side. Cut that off. Lay your glue on the back of the lash band. Wait about 30 seconds. Lay it on, and I'm gonna show you the next step. You can get your hands on a lash tweezer. Sometimes they come in the lash packs or something, or you can just buy them separately at the drugstore. Really cheap. They're really great to use to help place that lash on the lid. So make sure that the lash is gonna be round enough. So I like to bend it to make sure it's flexible, that it'll mold to my eye easily. Start checking out that glue. Make sure that it looks tacky enough to stick to the eye. If the glue isn't dry enough, then it's going to just take off a lot of your makeup and the lash will just slide off. So make sure you wait till it's tacky. Next, I'm gonna come from a 45-degree angle to lay down this lash. Place it on there. And then all you're gonna do is maneuver it down as close to your lash line as you can, and then press it in. Once you have your lashes on, if you need to redo your top liner or bottom liner at all, go ahead and do so right now. Last thing that we're gonna do for the eye is we're gonna add a bottom wing just right underneath that black liner. So I like to just start where the liner is and trace that part, trace that outer wing. Make sure the liner still comes to a point here. Once you have that there, then you're gonna extend this white liner down the lower lash line, but it's only gonna go until the middle of the eye. Don't bring it in any farther than that, and make sure both ends of the liner have nice points. One more thing I forgot to mention about the lashes. I don't care if you guys wear mascara with the lashes or not. If you have really light eyelashes, I would suggest maybe a light coat of mascara, but your lashes are gonna be so thick, it's really gonna be hard to tell, so choose your own adventure. Now we have two nice swooping wings underneath the black just to add a little bit more contrast. Now's the time to go and brighten up any of those white lines. Sometimes they can dull out, like this eyebrow is dulled out, and this side of my cheek is dulled out just a little bit, so I'm going to go over those and make them a little bit brighter. Next, we're going to be doing a little bronzing contouring. So this is my color. We're going to add this to the cheekbones here. So how you find this, suck it in, find right underneath that cheekbone, right at the edge of it, and blend this up into your hairline and just a little bit up the temple. Add some chisel and some warmth to the face. I would tell you to add this to your forehead because that's what I like to do, but no one's gonna see it with the wig that you're wearing. If you have not already set your foundation, I suggest it, especially if you're a sweaty person. It's gonna help keep your makeup on a little bit longer. I just use a little bit of this foundation powder. I put it on a brush, and you're gonna put it everywhere that is not near any of the color on your face. Please do not get this on the white because it's really gonna dull it down. If you like to use a setting spray, I suggest not to for this makeup just because I don't know how the blue and white are gonna react on the skin. So let's just stray away from that. Less powders on the face so it doesn't look cakey at all. And we shouldn't need any setting spray. Last, we have the purple lipstick, and we will be done. Careful when putting this on that you don't take away any of that white. This is the completed show makeup. That's gonna be it for the tutorial. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, please just leave a comment down below or shoot me an email. It's in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing start to your season.